This is pre-algebra lesson 5-6. Work backwards. Oftentimes, it's helpful to work a problem backwards to get to the correct answer. I do this often when I want to check something, when I'm done with finishing a problem. I'll often work it in reverse order to make sure I'm correct. It's another helpful strategy for solving problems. Let's say your flight leaves the airport at 10 a.m. You must arrive 2 hours early to check the baggage and get through security. The drive to the airport takes about 90 minutes. You want to stop for breakfast, and that's going to take 30 minutes, and it'll take you about 15 minutes to park and get to the terminal. So what time should you leave your house? Well, let's think about the information that we're given. What do we need to find? Well, we obviously need to find when should I leave my house. Okay? So that's our first thing. When should I leave my house? Second question, what is my arrival time? Okay. Well, if my flight leaves at 10, and I have to be there 2 hours early to check my baggage. The very latest that my arrival time should be at the airport should be 8 a.m. And how much time will I spend driving to the airport? I will spend 90 minutes driving to the airport. 90 minutes, otherwise known as 1 hour. 1.5 hours. Or an hour and a half. How much time will I spend eating breakfast? 30 minutes. Or a half an hour. How much time will I spend parking and getting to the terminal? 15 minutes. Or a quarter of an hour. So now I know that the series of events must end at 10 a.m. So let's work backwards. So let's think about this a second. And I'm giving myself a little bit more space here. There we go. I know I have to end at 10. So let's go backwards from 10. My flight leaves at 10. Okay. I know breakfast is going to take me half an hour. Okay. So I have all kinds of things that I need to do. Okay. My flight leaves at 10. I need to arrive at the airport for 15 minutes early. Okay, I need to arrive at the airport 2 hours early, don't I? My flight leaves at 10 a.m. It's going to take me 15 minutes to find parking and get through the terminal. Okay, so 15 minutes to park and park and go through the terminal. So that's already 9:45, isn't it? So I subtract that 15 minutes from 10, and I get 9:45. Okay. I know I have to arrive at the airport 2 hours early. Okay, so from 9:45 we'll subtract 2. That becomes 7:45. Okay. I know breakfast is going to take me half an hour. So I'm going to subtract 30 minutes from this. That puts me at 7:15. And I know that it's going to take me 90 minutes to drive to the airport. 90 minutes is an hour and a half. So if I subtract an hour and a half from 7:15, that's going to be 7:15. An hour would be 6:15. Half an hour before that would be 5:45. Okay, so I'm going to need 5:45 a.m. So I need to leave my home no later than 5:45 a.m. Okay? And I can double check this really simply. I can double check this by saying, okay, let's find the total time needed. Okay? Find total time. And I'm going to do it in minutes. Okay? I need 90 minutes to drive, 30 minutes for breakfast. I need 15 minutes to find parking. I need to be there 2 hours early, which is 120 minutes. If I add all those up, that's 255 minutes, I can believe. Yep, 255 minutes. Which happens to be, if there's 60 minutes in an hour, okay, 6 times 4 is 24. So that's going to be 4 hours and 15 minutes. If I take 4 hours and 15 minutes or I add 4 hours and 15 minutes to 5:45, I will get 10 o'clock. So let's check out. Okay. So if I leave my house no later than 5:45, I should be able to have plenty of time to do all of that stuff. Okay. Other ways you can work backwards are sometimes when they ask you to do a problem. Sometimes they'll give you something where they will say, multiply by 6, add 8, divide by 10, subtract 12, the result is -2. Okay? If they give you something like that, they say, okay, multiply by 6, add 8, divide by 10. Subtract 12. Result is -1. If you need to figure out what your beginning number was, work backwards. Start with the -1. -1. Before I had an answer of -1, I subtracted 12, so I'll add 12 to that, and that will give me 11. Okay? Before I had that 11, I divided by 10, so I will multiply by 10. 11 times 10 is 110. Before I had that, before my 110, I got my 110 after I added 8, so I subtract 8 from that. That gives me 102. Before I added my 8, I multiplied by 6, so I'm going to divide by 6. I take 102 and divide by 6. Let's see, 6. 17. So my beginning number was 17. So I began with 17. If I take 17, multiply by 6, add 8, divide by 10, and subtract 12, I should get -1. So you can work backwards by just doing the opposite. Start with a -1, instead of subtracting 12, we added 12. Instead of dividing by 10, we multiplied by 10. Instead of adding 8, we subtracted 8. Instead of multiplying by 6, we divided 6, we came up with our original number. That is working backwards.